Good morning. It is 8:27 and perfect timing. Walking right in just as we're getting ready to go on air here. Join us in studio this morning. Chaves County Sheriff Mike Herrington back with us. Morning, Sheriff.
Good morning. I'm glad to be here. Glad to be back.
Glad to have you back
good.
in. And how's things going right now?
It is going real good. My
deal.
undersheriff couldn't be here because I got him testing for new recruits.
Oh, we got some recruits testing today.
Yes,
and,
so we're working on that, and we're
at the first levels of entry into career law enforcement.
And I'll tell you what, I'm so thankful for these individuals and people still wanting to do this job.
Yeah.
You know, the news makes it sound like it's the worst job in the world and no one wants to do this, and that's just the opposite.
Well, and
it's been.
I feel like we're starting to hear tunes change a little bit in the media
about
that
election year.
Yeah. Not so many people want to defund police things so much more.
Yeah. Well.
Yeah. So
it takes.
Remember that, folks, when you hear that kind of stuff. Just saying.
Well, it takes some crazy things to happen for people to realize how good they actually have it.
Sure.
And what I've seen,
we're a bit spoiled, aren't we?
Yes,
and we don't realize how lucky we got it till you start taking some of it away. Then you realize,
you know, that is a fact. And so for us, we have been just blessed with this county. The southeastern part of New Mexico has never really changed in any way in that sense, because we do know exactly what we have. And we also look across, because of TV, you see everything. You look across the channels and you see our country's in chaos in some places because of those crazy movements, you know. So we've done some things here, and I think the people know that we have done it, and we are servants of this community.
Absolutely.
And that's for the Chaves County Sheriff's Office, the Roswell Police Department, the state police. We all have the same mentality. We're here to serve you,
and they all work hand in hand.
And we work hand in hand, and
Absolutely.
so it's a good thing, and I am so lucky to be part of this.
So,
team.
just curiosity: are the recruits getting younger and younger on you?
Oh, I'm going to just say that because we don't want to ever say I'm getting older and older on them. So that's how. That's how it is.
But you know, but it seems like I didn't look like that when I first started. You know what I mean?
Does this vest fit me like that? Yeah. Now you barely button it, and they're like that. It's wrapped around them 3 times.
But the truth is, yes, we look just like that back then. We just didn't realize it.
Oh yeah. Well, and you know, in your mind's eye, you still look that way. You know, that's how that is. So
yeah, exactly.
We were ordering uniforms and doing some other things, and you get those 30 waist or 29 or 28 or whatever, and I'm like that, man.
I was like, I saw that in like 5th grade.
Yeah, I was going to say, what the heck is that? And so it's, and everybody seems to be getting taller. You know, that's the other thing is either that or just as the old age hits me, I'm getting smaller. I don't know, but
They say that happens, that we shrink after a while.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see.
But in my mind's eye, I'm not. So that's how that works.
Well, and that's really what matters sometimes, right?
That's right?
You know, it's sometimes the bull mindset will overpower the bull if you know what you're doing.
Well, you know, it goes back to that, like off of Crocodile Dundee, when you walk in the room and you got the big guys, you're like, I don't need a gun, I got the donk. You know, so that's how it is. And I've got some big guys there, and they are very, very good gentle giants.
As a short person myself, I can say that's good short people advice.
Yes, it is.
Hang out with bigger people.
Hang out with bigger guys, yeah. Except for people like to punch the smaller guy. They don't want to fight the big guy.
Then they go because they think we're easy.
Yeah, that's right.
But that's just it. We're usually more cagey.
We're like the badger.
Yeah,
I told him I'm like a badger boy. I'll grab a hold of you and we'll have a good time for
mini honey badgers. That's
at least I will.
But you're right. There is I will tell before we get into when I was in the Air Force, there was a guy he was probably shorter than you. He was about 5'3". I mean, he was short.
Yeah.
And good dude. He was Gunny. He was we called him Gunny, and but he had a case of the big man syndrome. And what I mean by that is he was 5'3", but he owned a dually that was probably the size of Arkansas.
Yeah.
He doesn't have to have just a pull behind trailer.
Yeah.
He's got like a 300-foot one.
Yeah.
Like everything he owns is Even his wife was like 6 feet tall.
Oh yeah, I know that.
But anyway, Gunny was.
That's funny.
But anyway.
Well, I'm just glad to know I was taller than him at 5'5", so that's pretty good.
But good news, like you're saying, kind of get back to business here. So we got some recruits, and assuming testing goes well, some of these folks will be hopefully going to the academy here in the next session.
Well, I'm telling you, everything is on schedule, and we tested some guys yesterday. We're testing some more today, and I'm just telling you, at the Chaves County Sheriff's Office, we're one of the lowest paid sheriff's offices in the state.
Wow.
But we get people that still come to us, and that is just a credit in my eyes as a place that they want to come to work.
Sure. Well, money's important.
Money's important,
but
especially
it's not
when
everything.
Everything else is.
If you're in a place where you're happy and making less money versus a place where you're making more money and not as happy with the environment, I think most people pick the less money, happy environment every time.
That's exactly right.
Especially in a high-impact job like law enforcement. Yes. It's a high-stress job, but we're not gonna sugarcoat this. Is what it is. So, all right, and it's going to be a high-stress job whether it's in Albuquerque,
anywhere,
Eddy County, or right here.
Yes.
So for the fact that they say, you know what, we're going to come here because you know what, I love the work environment, I love the people, I love the officers that are standing next to me day in and day out. That's why I'm here.
And that's it. I believe it's because of the family atmosphere. We come together whenever it's hard times, good times, joking times, whatever it may be. It's like you're dealing with your brothers and sisters, and you play around, you do everything, but when it comes to business, you take care of business. And if someone else comes to mess with you, you're messing with the whole family.
So but also that makes you better law enforcement people because you've preached this since day one as sheriff. You got to have that relationship with the public. You got to have that interaction. So when your sheriff's deputies act like human beings instead of act like robots behind a badge.
That's right.
Which is kind of the image I think a lot of people think of law enforcement. Right. And then all of a sudden you got a guy coming up in a cowboy hat saying, what's going on? Cracking a joke with you or something. It's like, then it completely disarms the situation a little bit. And now people start talking to you like a person instead of talking to you like someone trying to plead their case or trying to get by something.
I get so much information that is given to me because I treat you like a person. I treat you like somebody who is part of my family, and that's how I do everybody, and for me, there's some people who I have been talking to here recently who have changed their entire life around, and they're like, you know what, we just never wanted to talk to anybody in law enforcement or anything like that, and now we feel comfortable about it. And they're not talking to me about any specific thing. They just, when they see me, they come up to me and they talk and they
feel trusted. They feel like it's a safe place.
And they know that my goal, I have two goals during the day: put the bad guys in jail and serve the people. And if you do that every day, people see it. And they know that not only is it here at work, but if I'm not here at work or working, I will do anything for you. Whatever I can that's within the law, I will make sure that it's done. And they can call me anytime. And
I would imagine, too, this also allows you and your deputies to when they're out on the streets, determining who are the quote-unquote bad guys versus people that are not bad guys. They just did dumb or bad things.
That's all it is.
And so when... so that's where the policing comes in. It's like, all right, do we need to hammer down on this person because we know they're not really learning from this.
Right.
And that's where we talk our truly bad guys. Said, you know what, they've got a history here. It's time for them to go to jail versus somebody who had an argument or had something that was a one-off deal where you don't want to destroy their lives. You want to make them understand the severity of what's going on and serve any punishments that are justified here. But you don't want to say, all right, your life's ruined now because of this one instance. And I think most people think that's the case.
Right.
And then when your deputies come in and talk to them and say, look, we're just trying to figure out what's going on, make sure it's safe for everybody.
Make sure you're okay.
And then we'll figure out what needs to happen down the road. But it's usually not as bad as what people would make it out to be. And once they understand all that, then that helps you do your job, and in benefit helps them with a better outcome.
I can tell you in my career, numerous times I have had to take somebody to the ground, and then as soon as you get them in control, and because, not everybody's happy to see you when you show up.
It's all emotion.
It's all emotion.
Yeah.
And as soon as I get them to the ground, and then I pick them up, I dust them off, and I ask them, hey, you understand why that just happened?
Yeah.
Now you're making it more where they're starting to realize, because they want to blame everybody else.
Sure.
But at that moment, you've made some connection with them, and you're saying, hey, do you understand why that just happened?
Sure.
And not everybody has to go to jail. Those who are out there causing havoc within this community or hurting people, they need to go to jail.
Sure.
And we'll make sure they go to jail.
Sure.
So that's something that's important. One thing that I am very excited about right now is the new jail administrator, Justin Porter. He's come from Clovis, but he's also been in Las Cruces jails, where it's the bigger jails, and
Sure.
he has come here and he is doing a great job.
So is he changing some of the procedures that he used, like in Cruces, maybe?
Yes,
Here, gotcha.
and he's doing a lot of it from Clovis, is what it sounds like to me as well. Well,
these are more the maximum security stuff we're talking, right?
Yes.
That he's probably dealt with.
Yeah,
kind of New Mexico's version of super prisons, basically.
Probably more of a bigger population within the jail, which means you have more people.
Probably dealing with the trafficking, both drugs and people, those type crimes and things like that. Yeah.
So he's doing a great job out there, and so I'm glad that
gang-related stuff.
Yes. So I'm glad to have him out there. That always makes it easy when you can go out and talk to the jail administrator and sit down and say, hey, what can we do to help you? With my K9 Felix, we go out there and we'll run them through there. The police department has their dogs. They go out there, do the same thing, and it has become a great relationship. And I'll tell you, the state police is doing the same thing. One of the guys who I've known for a long time that was with the state police, he has now moved here as a sergeant, and I'll tell you, the relations is going to get even better because the sergeant that was here, we had that good relationship, but with COVID and everything else, and the hours of the state police, you just didn't have as much contact.
Sure.
Where now
there are two ships passing in the night kind of thing. Yeah.
Well, now we have individuals who are coming over and we're talking and we're really building a great team.
Good.
And so I think it's going to be a good thing, and it's just a matter of communication. There's always going to be ground fighting. You got like a bunch of kids.
Well, everybody, from their perspective, they feel they're the most important wheel in the cog, thing. And as should be, you take pride in what you do.
You take pride in your deal.
But the reality is all of them are equally important.
It's like the Pro Bowl.
Yeah.
You may be wearing a different helmet, maybe wearing a different uniform, but the reality of it is you're still trying to achieve the same goal.
Sure.
And that's the thing that we've been working on, and it's so good to see throughout all this craziness that everybody has still maintained some kind of professionalism, some pride in this job.
Sure.
Because the media has really destroyed the image.
Can I ask you a question about that?
Sure.
Like, do you think, in your opinion, like, because of this in the media, this anti-law enforcement sentiment, has that kind of rallied the troops in all law enforcement, like where some of that, county versus city, or what I mean, some of the rivalry in department, like, did that kind of melt away a little bit, where they're saying, look, it's all of us against them mentality sometimes? I think
that what it did was come in and show each other that, hey, there's only a few of us.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the Marine slogan, the few, the proud, that's where we're at. We are few trying to accomplish the same mission.
Sure.
And we always have dealt with not every person you deal with being in favor of you.
Mm-hmm.
But when you have the news media crying out and only showing the negative stuff.
Sure.
If you look,
it's an unfair representation.
It's an unfair representation. And I was just watching a deal before I came over here. Some officers who were shot and killed in another part of the country, and they're in a standoff and a shooting right now, and that's not put out anywhere. It's not showing what craziness is actually happening and what these law enforcement officers are
Sure.
actually going through. And,
it's very out of context.
It's very out of context.
Yeah.
And, it just seems like the law enforcement officers and those who want to become law enforcement have become motivated to show, you know what, we're doing everything we can every day.
Well, and this is just the plain truth. It's anytime a situation escalates, 99% of the time it was escalated by the actions of the person that you're being detained at that moment.
Yeah.
It's because that's just the way it is.
Yeah.
Law enforcement is a react type thing, and so they're reacting based upon the reactions of what the suspect or the detained person is doing.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
We are proactive in looking for crimes that are occurring or even going to be committed, right? But when you get a 911 call, we are reactive. And when we show up, the focus now turns on the stranger in the house.
Right.
And that's you. And so whenever you come in, even though this individual's maybe having problems with their husband, their wife, or their kids, as soon as a stranger comes in the house and starts to explain to them this is not right,
right,
you become the bad guy.
Sure. All parties align against this foreign body. Yeah.
Exactly. And as you know, a lot of officers in throughout history as well as in our current time have been killed by the person who called 911 because they don't want their spouse to go to jail.
Sure.
Because when they get out of jail, they're going to get worse.
Yeah.
So we have some things that when we get there, we don't know who is the aggressor.
Right.
We don't know who has caused.
You have to treat everybody dangerous till you figure out otherwise.
Absolutely right.
Yep.
And so to teach that and still maintain a professional, calm appearance is tough.
Sure. Because your reactions are going to dictate how they react. So you guys have to be head on the swivel, on your guard toes, but acting like the duck.
That's right.
Where it's smooth on top and crazy on the bottom.
Yep,
that's in essence, in your head, it's this.
That's why I got
the feet at the bottom.
That's why I got that sheriff duck. That's what I tell them. I said, that's exactly the way it is.
Yeah, and that's really...
You should appear that, no matter what's going on in your head, what's happening, because when you're coming up to somebody who's shooting somebody, stabbing somebody, beating somebody, your adrenaline is running, your emotions are high.
Sure.
You get there and it's a small child that is the victim. You're going to have emotions. You're going to have other things, but you cannot let
You have to be the adult in the room. That's your job, is the adult in the room.
And one thing is unfortunately, the more calls you go to, the more you see, the easier it is to remain calm. Because you're going to say, you know what, geez, this is bad.
Yeah.
But it's something that's not uncommon.
And that's the challenge in law enforcement, because these officers have to build up a little bit of armor to kind of mentally be able to withstand some of the things you see.
That's right.
But at the same time, they can't let them jade them to the point where they can't effectively do their job.
And that's exactly right. So you have to really train yourself. But more importantly, that's why we have field training officers. That's why we have these older guys who teach them, look, it's okay.
Yeah.
You're going to go through these emotions. You're going to have these issues. Unfortunately, there's some divorces. There's some other things that happen because of depressions and other things.
They're having trouble coping with their own emotions and mechanisms, what they're seeing. And so they're human beings. They do the same thing all human beings do, and turn to vices and things to try to treat themselves.
Well, the one thing that when I was in the academy, and this was 26 years ago, one of the things that was told to us is, hey, we are taught and we're going to teach you how to deal with other people's problems.
Yeah.
We're just not teaching you how to deal with yours.
Yeah. And that's...
and that's where now we're pushing more things like peer pressure, peer groups, all these different things. And we're getting ready to send some deputies off.
But get these guys some mental health options and things.
And we talk and we get together and we, the only way to get some of that stress off of you is to talk about it. And we can't talk to the everyday person about a case that is going,
because it's hard for them to see the forest from the trees here.
And they just you just tell them, you know what, man, I just came from a car accident where the baby was thrown through the window and hit a tree.
And to them, that's like, oh, how many? And you're talking like nonchalantly
like
about
that.
it. Yeah.
Or some of them are like that. Oh, okay. You want? Hey, good. Oh. And so the motion is not there to be able to sit down and talk. But when you talk to another law enforcement officer, you can see it's the best counseling session you ever have.
Yeah.
Because as you're sitting there telling them what you just experienced, you can see their mind is spinning and they're getting ready to tell you what they just experienced.
Yeah.
And it's getting it out there. And so we help each other in that sense.
Sure. And it just feels better that you know that someone can relate to how you're feeling.
Somebody's been there.
Yeah, even if they're not necessarily solving the problem.
That's right.
There is a comfort in knowing that you're not going through it alone.
Yes.
And that's a lot of it is that right there.
That is exactly what I tell to my deputies, that when you go to a call, we may not be able to solve every problem, but they're going to be able to tell it to you. And you're going to listen to it. And we're going to do everything we can to try and solve that problem. But there's times when we're going to have to refer you to somebody else or to put you through some other kind of...
Something's going to be above your capacity.
Yeah, above it. But what we have seen is that people just want to tell you. They just want you to actually take what you believe to be this big of a problem, a very small problem, that to them is a very large problem. They want you to take it like it's a very large problem.
Treat it in the same manner in which they see it. Yeah,
exactly. So that's something that we work on, and we go through that every day, and we talk about that stuff.
And then sometimes the big problem in their head isn't really big, and that's for the law enforcement. So what about this, and all of a sudden they're like, that light bulb moment happens. Like, oh, okay, now. Well, and then problem solved, and the night goes back to normal sometimes.
Yeah, and we've got mental health issues, and we've got anxieties and all these things that are happening all around us. And if you've never experienced any kind of anxiety, or you haven't ever dealt with someone who's had mental health issues, you don't really believe that it's real.
Sure.
And until you experience that, and I've experienced that personally.
Sure.
Not the mental health illnesses, but it could be with the anxiety side of it. And I'll tell you, there was a day I retired from the sheriff's office to run for sheriff. Anxiety hit me like you would, and I've never experienced nothing like that in my life.
Yeah.
I've seen so much and done so much, and when it hit me...
But it was the unknown for you, and it kind of created this...
It did.
Yeah, I get that.
And it when you go to the hospital every day for 30 days, so they'll check your blood pressure, make sure you're not having a heart attack.
Right.
Those things are happening, and that's real, and so... After you experience that, and I can say this, my anxiety has gone completely away. I believe that was given to me as a gift to show me how people actually feel, and to be able to, when you go to put a person in the back of a patrol car and they're handcuffed, and you're putting them into a closed-in place, and they start to tell you, "Hey, man, I'm freaking out. I'm having anxiety. I'm doing this." People are just like, "Hey, you afraid to go to jail?" And
sure.
Slamming the door
yeah,
on you.
You're right. Yeah.
And then they start bashing their head on the windows or the cage. And I now know that's real.
Yeah.
And you have to treat that as though it is real.
Sure.
They're not trying to run away. They're not trying to hurt themselves. They're trying to get out of a position that they feel impending doom.
Fight or flight mode, and this is how their bodies react.
Yeah, it's impending doom. You feel like the world's coming to an end. So, we train on that. We talk about that. Everybody goes to work and says, you know what? We know we're dealing with these things. We may not have ever experienced it, but to them, it is real. Yeah. And we have to treat it as though it's real. And, we go out to houses all the time, and they say, hey, the person is in the wall. Or, I believe I'm being watched. And they're in that wall looking out that little hole right there. You got to treat that as though
full well there is.
There's nobody there. No, the wall's just big. It's about 3 inches thick.
Right.
But the reality of it is, you try to find out who their mental health worker is, get things going. Maybe they're off their medicines or whatever. But you don't go there and humiliate or downplay it in any way, because to them it is real.
Sure. Absolutely.
So that's things that we work on. But it's important that everybody understands that the Chaves County Sheriff's Office, the local law enforcement agencies around here, we are serving this community 100%.
Taking care of the business as needed. So.
And when whatever comes up, we're going to be there. I am very thankful. The people that support us, they are vocal. You know, you'll see it on my Facebook page. One person says something crazy, 20 people take care of that problem.
Absolutely, yeah.
You know, and they come in and they take care of it. I really don't have to ever get on there and
we got a lot of people that come to defense of law enforcement in the community.
Absolutely,
and that's a great thing to see.
No, it is. And I'm very thankful for that. You know, just like right now, we're getting ready to get our second K-9 unit, and the money was donated by individuals.
That's great.
You know, so we're getting things done that the county may not be able to help us with financially, but the people will.
Yeah.
And so that's amazing to me. And it's something that I have not seen. You know, I've been doing this is my 26th year. I have not seen anything like it is today.
That's great.
And, you know, sometimes you got to have craziness happen. And you look at what's happening, and it makes you appreciate the things we had.
Well, and I think we live in a place where people are willing to invest in our community. It's like this is our home. This is where we live, and we want to make sure that the people that we take care of our people and our people take care of us. And that's the mindset that we have. And I think you're seeing the fruits of that, and that's exactly what that is. And and I think that's what makes our community great is we have that throughout the from Roswell to all of Chaves County, and even southeast of Mexico. We get to Eddie Lee County. Southeast. It's a very Friday nights might be a little bit of rivalry, but every other night everybody's good to go.
I'm going to tell you, for me, with Portales, Lincoln County, so you got Roosevelt County, Lincoln County, which is Ruidoso, Otero County, which is Alamogordo, Eddy County, which is Carlsbad, Artesia, and then Lee County, which is Hobbs, and then me here in Chaves County. We have an unbreakable team.
Yeah,
and we all work together. Everybody has the same goals in mind.
Sure.
And one is to protect the Constitution of the United States and protect the people of our counties. And we fight every day. We're in the middle of a legislative session that's
it's state of New Mexico right now. You really have to because and this is there's a few sheriffs statewide that don't really line up with most of what you're saying. But for the most part, it's pretty much a united front across the board from sheriff's departments around the state.
So we out of 33 counties, county sheriffs, we have 3 that don't agree. Yeah. And it's not as much that they don't agree. Well, one of them is for sure they don't agree.
Gotcha.
But the others living in areas where they won't be.
It's a little more political for them.
Yeah. So, but for us, the sheriffs that I just mentioned, and including myself, this is not political in any way.
Yeah.
This is 100% the job that I took on and the job that I have been doing for 26 years, not just as the sheriff.
Right.
But it is important. And then also whenever I was in the Air Force, it's protect the Constitution of the United States.
Yeah.
Uphold the freedoms of our country and make sure people can live peacefully and safe.
Yeah. We're running out of time here today, but here in a couple weeks when you come back, maybe we can talk a little legislative session side of law enforcement and talk about the good, because it'll be all wrapped up by then.
Yeah.
And so we can talk the good, the bad, and the ugly about that, but definitely want to get that. Now, I know you're getting some people going through tests and stuff. Is there any more testing times coming up here?
Yes, there is. So if they go to the Chaves County website, fill out an application. Once we get the application, we set up them immediately now.
Okay.
Testing time. So we're not waiting till we get a big group. We're not waiting on anything. We bring you in. We test you. We do everything, do backgrounds on you, do everything that we can, because I'm not going to let things slip through our fingers.
Well, if you get to the point where you're ready to go to the academy, the sheriff's department and RPD, they all do the same.
Yes.
They will make sure that you are prepared.
Oh, yeah.
To go up there because, like you said, it's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money.
And if there's a bunch washing out that aren't making it, then that's a lot of taxpayer money that's getting wasted here. Yep. So the sheriff's department, they will get you ready.
Yes.
To I would imagine. Yep. I'm not saying it's easy, But by the time you go to the academy, you're going to be so well versed on what's happening. You're going to feel pretty comfortable about what to expect and what you got to do.
I'm getting ready to put out some stuff for basically saying Chaves County Sheriff's Office is hiring. Go to this website.
Now, when's the next academy? Is that in the spring or?
It's going to be in July.
July, so summer here.
So
you got roughly 5 months to get ready for that, physically, mentally, everything.
Yep. So when they come on, we PT them. We put them through the physical training. We get them ready. So when they get to the academy, they're going in as a monster.
Sure.
They are so physically fit that when they get there, their mind can be on learning the laws and the jobs and how to apply and not
because
have to
that's
worry
really
about,
the hard part is the mental side.
It
everyone
really
worries
is.
about the running and push-ups. I'm like, that's the easy part to train for.
That's the easy part.
You in essence have to be kind of a walking lawyer when you're a cop because you got to know the law. You can't enforce law unless you know it.
In an instant, you have to know exactly what the law says, and you're going to be critiqued on it when you go to court on how it was applied. But I will tell you, if you take the time to learn this, you're not ever going to lose to a lawyer.
Absolutely.
So it's amazing.
Yeah.
So it's a good thing.
Yeah. So please, if you want to learn more, go out to the Sheriff's Department website here or shoot, come on by and talk to one of the deputies or whoever's on call. They'd be happy to, provided nothing's happening at the moment, they more than likely to talk to you more about being in law enforcement and what it takes and the process and stuff like that. That's talk to the different deputies when they're out and about. If you see them having lunch somewhere or something like that,
just whatever.
Talk to them a little bit. They love to talk to you about.
So, and I'll tell you, you ever want to catch me? It seems like here lately it's at Home Depot.
A lot of projects going on.
Man, no, it's a lot of not knowing what I'm doing, having to keep going back.
Good at sheriffing, not so much at home improvement.
That's why I tell everybody, I have no skills when it comes to anything else. I'm like that. They're like, hey, you want to buy 3 or 4 of the different ones just to see if you get the right one?
Well, maybe you should know a guy. You're the sheriff.
Exactly.
See, that's what I do. I was like, if I can't do it, I was like, I know a guy that's better at it than I am. I just butter them up.
The bad part is I don't know how to do it till I start to do it, and then I'm really like, oh my gosh.
That's the worst one when you think, I got this, and you're like, I ain't got this.
Yeah, the littlest
And you
things.
can't walk that back without looking like an idiot. You just can't.
I come from a family where my grandpa was a master mechanic, my dad's a master mechanic, and I'm the light holder. That's all I did. So I was out there trying to change out a brake light on my truck and almost ripped the whole back light panel off, not realizing the other screws that went into it. But
whenever he gives you a hard time, it's like, hey, you may be fixing cars, but I'm fixing the community.
That's right. So. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's what I tell them. Look
Points
around.
that match me.
Yes. So that's good. Well, thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, Sheriff. Appreciate it as always.
I appreciate you, and thanks. I want to just say again, thank you, community, for stepping up and standing behind us.
Anytime, and we appreciate what you and your deputies do for us. And stay safe out there. You and all the sheriffs, all of our law enforcement. And we'll see you here in a couple weeks. Let's focus more on the legislative stuff that time.
Yes, we can do that.
I'm sure we got plenty to talk about on that side.
I had a lot to talk about on that today, but we got more time.
Very good.
We can do it. So
we got wrapped up in other things.
Other stuff. Yep. So that's good.
Awesome. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
It's